Welcome to the Knowledge for Men show. Your life will never be the same.
Your level of success will seldom exceed your level of personal development.
I want to die empty of regret. I want to die empty of my best work. We don't understand who we are. Instead, we're living out somebody else's narrative.
What one man can do, another man can do. If it's been done, it can be done again.
Being yourself and being your truest, most authentic self in every moment. If it scares you or makes you a little afraid, do it. Follow your heart and your gut.
The first stage, I think, is finding you, like finding out who I am today.
Stuff will not work. You will have things that fail. Success is when you're a happy, fulfilled person. How do you define success?
It's your life, and you are the creator of the movie script that is your life story.
How would you like to become unstoppable, irresistible, and unafraid in every area of your life? Get free instant access to my Double Your Confidence program to become a person of action, overcome any obstacle, and scale any height. Go to kfmconfidence.com to get instant access to my program. Again, that's kfmconfidence.com. All right, guys, welcome to the show. I'm here with Miki Spies. She's a spiritual coach, a transformational speaker with an enthusiastic message of manifestation. She's also the author of the infamous To Be a Sex God, Make Women Worship You for Men. Miki, happy to have you here on the show.
Hi, Andrew.
All right. What a lovely welcoming message we have here from Miki. We start off every show with a favorite success quote, or some sort of saying that you've lived by, something from your book would be great. Sex God. What do you got for us, and explain what that means to you?
You threw this on me a second ago, but I think what I would like your listeners to know is that an honest evaluation of self in this area is the most important thing to do. Sigmund Freud said, being entirely honest with oneself is good exercise. And when we're talking about sex and how to please a woman and how to make women worship you, honey, you got to be honest with your skills and where you are in life.
So what do you mean by that, being honest? Like just owning kind of where you're at personally, professionally, just instead of trying to put on this type of persona that you're someone else?
80% of women fake orgasms. 87% make noises just to try to get you to hurry up. Sex is not really so great out there for women.
Okay, so this is a big topic. And so what is it like for a woman to... is this what it's like all the time with every man, or is this just how it is, or does she find certain men who are doing certain things that actually really please her?
I'm a bisexual woman, and I don't really want to give up either sex because the benefits that you get from both, the sex is so different, so out of this world different that they're both good. Sex with women is better because women have better skills with other women. And that's just, a no-brainer. We understand the body better. Does it always have to be this way? Hell no. This is why I wrote the book. I gave every tiny detail, secret you can imagine so that women really will worship you. Because the ultimate goal is not to have a lot of sex, right? Anybody can do that, and it just kind of gets ugly after a while, and you're exchanging all your energy with all these random people. That's just not the most healthy when we are becoming spiritual giants, when we want more for our life. So the better way to look at sex is having a presence and having women desire you so much that they kind of worship you in that area. Whether you are in a relationship with one, whether you're in a relationship with 5, whether you just kind of want to sit back and let things simmer for a while, you need this element in place.
And so what are some of what are the things that men are often doing wrong in the bedroom? Let's start there.
No, can we do that a little bit later? Because that's what you men want to do, Andrew. You men want to rush right to the fucking sex. This is what men want to do. Okay, that's funny. I love your question. You're so cute. Do you find the humor in it? Do you find the humor in it at all?
I see the humor. I just think that's exact. I'm thinking of my audience, and that's what they're thinking of. And so I am kind of the spokesperson for the thousands of listeners.
All of you beautiful thousands of men out there who subscribe to Knowledge for Men and have a heart like Andrew that want the best life for yourself, that don't want to settle for anything. When we talk about sex, we got to back way the fuck up. Is it okay if I curse? Because I'm kind of a cursor.
You're free?
Okay.
Yeah. I like to curse when you're emphasizing a point. But if you're just cursing every other word, then I'll have to edit that. All right, keep going, Miki.
Okay, so let me start with the fact that everything about you needs to be foreplay. Because foreplay is everything, and everything is foreplay. So if you want that quote to go in your head, that's the one that I would say take from me. Everything is foreplay, and you want everything to be foreplay. And in order to get to that level, you need to become a sexy bastard.
And by foreplay, do you mean foreplay both inside and outside of the bedroom?
Mostly it starts where I'm going to start right now is with who you are, how you are perceived, what you look like. Just looking at you should turn me on. If you want me and you want me to want you, just you looking at me should turn me on, and me looking at you should turn me on. So, the first chapter, I talk about what that looks like because, men with dirty cars, for instance, that's bad foreplay. Really, really, really bad foreplay. If you're wearing an old ball cap and an old sweatshirt and, holey underwear and socks, terrible foreplay. You are not turning us on. Already you are turning us off. So you have to understand that women are not, you men you can look at my naked body and be like, oh my God, I want to have sex right now. But a woman takes a little something, and a cumulative something in order to really get us on that page of worshiping you. So if you really, really want to be a sex god, everything, all of the little habits, your pad needs to be sexy. If you want a quality, gorgeous, intelligent, interesting woman in your bed often, and you want to have great sex with her, your pad needs to be sexy. So you need to do a little manscaping around the house, making sure that all the junk is moved out and that you learn a little bit about style and design. You don't need to have a lot. In fact, it's better if you're in a more simple place and you have extra income. That's so much sexier than to have a big place that's not decorated and is just kind of a mess. So there's so many things to us that are foreplay. You wanted to jump right into the sex. I love it.
Yeah. Well, just when you say the word foreplay, it leads, I'm thinking of, okay, what are we doing here? But I get it now. So foreplay even happens the moment you guys make eye contact. And then even his appearance is a form of foreplay.
If he's got nose hairs hanging out his nose.
He's foreplaying, but it's not doing the job.
No, it's turning us off. A big part of seduction is withholding your energy, yet giving her energy. Most men merge their energy. Like they just want to put you up against the wall and blah, blah, blah all over you. And women don't want that. We want you to control your energy. I am energy and you are energy. And yes, we're entangled when we're together. In fact, you and I are entangled right now.
Oh, no.
But you really want to honor that. And you don't want to just mesh it, because the sexiest thing in the world is controlling energy.
So when a man can control his sexual desire, that is turning up the volume knob of attraction inside that woman.
Yes. And maintaining that that little dial that you just turned up right there, what you just grasped, maintaining that through the course of the relationship. See, most men, they'll have bad habits. They'll belch and burp into a relationship really fast, or, the other. And that kind of thing gets rid of the sexual tension. Yes, we want you to be yourself, but if you want really great sex, maintaining that sexual tension is super important. And you don't need to become a super metrosexual, over the top with your grooming. You don't need to have a perfect body, but you shouldn't be fat. And I would imagine most of your listeners have figured out a good diet. They're not eating a bunch of meat and dairy. They're eating fruits and vegetables. They're eating beans and grains. They're eating nuts. They're drinking water. They're not infusing their energy with all of these things that make them fat and make them depressed and make them anxious. I hope that your listeners are to that point where they understand that diet really dictates so much of their future success.
Okay. And so we're working on the diet. Obviously, I think guys are working out, they're eating well. And let's say they find themselves, they are attracted to a woman, yet they feel like her attraction, or like she's so beautiful that it's difficult for this person to be himself. It's difficult for this person to really take control of that volume knob and slowly turn it up.
Okay. So fun. So fun. Because when you think about it, we're all really cool, right? Every single one of us is interesting and powerful and unique. Nobody is like you. There's no one like you. No one. So bringing your best self to the table without trying to disguise yourself or be careful is super attractive. That's that confidence, that the women want. The women want that level of, I know who I am. I may not be 6'4", 250 pounds of muscle, but I am a sexy motherfucker because I've been doing the self-work. I've been working on my mental well-being. I'm understanding what a woman wants. The seduction piece is really interesting because a lot of men don't have the confidence here. And in this book, really simple instructions on how to flirt. Like, I take all the guesswork out of it.
Let's do an example right now.
Okay, one is, it's funny because my daughter, who is gorgeous, and in this book, when they buy this book, they'll get all of the pictures of her. She is, by the way, I don't know if your listeners remember the Too Sexy for Your Yearbook scandal that happened 4 years ago. That was my daughter climbing the stairs with the yellow skirt. We were in the headlines everywhere. We ended up on the Today Show. Anyway, she's stunning, and she got a lot of trouble because of how beautiful she is. And men are extremely intimidated. Let's say that you are sitting in a movie theater and you're with one of your buddies and you see these two women and they are gorgeous and you think they're out of our league and, oh my God, but I'm so attracted to them. Aren't they beautiful? And they just seem so natural and fun, and throw a piece of popcorn at them. Taking risks, taking playful risks is something that interrupts her day and gets her attention. That's what you want. You want to get her attention. You want to buy the coffee of that old lady behind you in line so that you impress the woman that you've been trying to get her number, behind the counter of Starbucks. You want to be really creative in ways that get her attention. So I do have a lot of examples of those in the book, and I'm not going to go completely into that. But what I do want men to remember is sex is not the ultimate goal. Everywhere you go, you want to have beautiful women as friends, do you not? And all women are beautiful. Am I right?
Absolutely.
We are all beautiful. The healthy ones are. The not so healthy ones you want to stay away from. Don't mess with that energy. Don't even think about having sex with somebody who is mentally not they're spiritually not growing, just for the sake of sex. That brings your vibration down. You don't want that.
Can you talk more about that? So when a guy is, let's say, settling to satisfy some of his sexual desire, how will this impact the man moving forward when he does want to meet that special woman?
Well, you're not going to be as into her, and so your sex is not going to be so good. And you want to build your skills. So every time you're doing something, you're going to want to be thinking, is this working for me? And the things that work for you, you want to continue. So what doesn't work for you is engaging with people that bring your energy down. It's obvious. I would rather you masturbate to the thought of having a future gorgeous, fantastic, out of this world woman than to have sex with somebody that's subpar.
And how do you think this affects other aspects of his life?
Which part?
Settling.
Everything. It impacts everything. I'm a big advocate of not having sleepovers. Absolutely no sleepovers until you're ready to commit, because you will settle and you don't know what's there yet. So part of that withholding your energy means not exposing your energy, overexposing your energy, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So it seeps into everything. Spending too much time with a subpar woman takes away from all of the things that you want to do. It takes away from that book that you want to read or write. It takes away from that agent you're trying to find. It takes away from those sales calls that you need to make. Just don't even get involved. Practice the flirting part. Definitely practice the flirting part, and then use that sexual energy that comes from that to help propel you with your endeavors.
I like that. And so just to go back, because I'm sure a lot of guys were like, wait, did she say no sleepovers? What did you mean? You said no sleepovers until commitment. So are you saying no sex until you guys have committed to each other?
No,
are you saying no one night stands?
Have all the sex you want. Have all the sex you want. Try not to have it too early. Try not to have it too early. Try not to have it the first date or two. Try to keep her on the hook, right?
We may have lost, half the audience with that. Just kidding. I think it's good, to really build more tension, and I think it makes it more exciting for the girl. She's talking with her friends.
You're getting it.
There's this guy, it's like he had the opportunity, but he didn't do it because he's so confident that it's going to happen later. Things like that.
We hate stupid texts. Stupid text, you're hot. Hey, how you doing? In my book, it talks about different texts that you can send and ways to flirt. You have to be creative. Most men, the truth is, most men bore us.
Yeah.
They do. You're not very interesting. You don't talk about enough cool things. Your audience is perhaps the exception because they are doing self-work, because they are pursuing higher thought, because they are doing the development work to live the kind of life that they want to live. Hopefully, they are altruistic people and want to give back to society. Those are the kinds of things that are sexy. Those are the kinds of things that are going to turn us on. So if you're doing all of this work and then you start kind of giving your energy a little here, a little there, carefully kind of looking. If your goal is to get married, you're being kind of careful with that. You're looking around, you're making a lot of friends, but you're taking your time. Sleeping with somebody is fine. If you didn't rush it, and that's great. Personally, I took a spiritual vow of celibacy 2 years ago. I started having sex when I was 15. I'd had sex with about 30 men and a dozen women. And my entire life, I was married for 24 years. So most of those men were young, like in high school. And most of those women were after my marriage because I was loyal. But, I forgot my train of thought on that one too. Shoot. Oh, just sleeping with people. That's really not your goal. You withholding and finding out who you are. During this time of celibacy, I've written 2 books. I moved to a foreign country. I started a company. The amount of evidence that I have as to my life work has grown because I'm not wasting my time with substandard people. Yeah. And when the time comes, they need to be at the same level that I'm at. And settling is not in the cards.
Yeah.
So having sex is not your goal. Becoming a sex god is your goal. And we want fun interactions. We hate creepy. Don't be fucking creepy. And I talk about this in the book too. You know, most men don't know what creepy is. A couple of examples of creepy is standing too close to us right away. It's becoming too familiar too soon. It's sending text messages that don't intrigue us. It's just not elevating your game. You know, creepy, there's a difference between creepy and classy. You can give me a compliment and say, oh my God, you are such a beautiful woman. Or you can say, whoa, beautiful woman. You know, figure out how to express yourself in a way that makes her feel charmed.
I like that. And so for guys listening who would like some advice on how they could have great sex tonight, there are guys listening. You know, it's in the morning right now. We're having this conversation, so I think they could start sending some witty, fun texts over to their girlfriend or wife. What would you suggest they start doing right now, so by the time they get home, they have built some sexual tension?
Good. Creating a sense of anticipation is huge. We want that basically in play all the time. So you want that whole thought of a man sitting on a couch and watching sports and getting fat and drinking beer. No sexual tension there. That is like the most
Wait, the commercials don't say that though. They say otherwise.
That is the most unattractive thing I can possibly think of. You know, any man that just wants sex and puts pressure on a woman for sex it's not sexy. Relationships are not going to be hot for the remainder of the time that you're together if you aren't keeping a really strong sexual tension going. She's got to be her own being. You know, she wants a man that is in control. You have to make her ravenous with anticipation. It's the biggest secret around sex. The biggest secret. But men are fucking up. They're fucking up, and they need this help to get them on track.
Can you repeat you said that is the secret to sex. Can you repeat that?
Is making her ravenous with anticipation.
What does that feel like for you? What does that feel like for you when a guy's doing it just right? How do you feel? What's going on in your mind? What's going on?
Okay, everything is perked up. Everything. Every cell in our body feels like it comes alive. Anticipation, everything we're anticipating centers around you. We can't wait to see you. We can't wait to put our fingers through your hair. We can't wait to kiss your face and tell you how fantastic you are. When you can maintain that level of anticipation, when you can maintain that level of seduction, we're going to be putty in your hands. Honestly, putty. And here's a really good one to do. Instead of thinking about, oh, I want to have sex tonight, how about this? How about making her want to have sex and you being too busy? How about you walking out the door and knowing that you don't have time, but seducing her in a way that puts her on edge? Incredible foreplay all day long. That sister is going to be thinking about you. She is going to want to have sex with you. She's not going to be able to wait to see you that night. And then don't just say text nasty, whatever text. They need to be cool, and they need to be a little more infrequent. Stop telling us about all your problems or every little detail in your life. You know, that familiarity breeds contempt. You don't want to do that until down the road, you know, when you're living together. In the beginning, just maintain a little bit of secrecy, if you will.
I like this. And I think the anticipation is just such a key point for guys moving forward. And so is this going to be like, what kind of text would you recommend a guy to send right now while he's listening to this? What should he say to start building that anticipation? And what does he do after?
If he ever says, hey, how you doing? He should be slapped. If you have sent a recent text that says, hey, how you doing? To some woman that you're interested in, slap your hand as hard as you can right now. Slap your wrist. Just do it. And tell yourself to never do that again. So let's just start with that. Something to say would be something specific to her. I go into detail. I give the cliff notes of astrology in my book, because if you have the secret, everything is connected to everything. I'm connected to you. You're connected to me. We're 99.999% dark matter that runs through us. The planets are connected to everything that is. We're on a big astrological clock. So I give you cliff notes into each sign and what you should do for each sign, because it depends on the woman. And Aries is going to be a certain way. A Cancer is going to receive something different. A woman that is a Capricorn, she's going to see the world in a completely different way. So learning a woman's astrology, and let me tell you, the benefits that this has in the flirting department, whoa, now you get to talk about her. And astrology is something that you can learn for the rest of your life and still not really fully understand it. And you'll have that much more gauge, the more you learn. If you're a fire sign, an earth sign's probably going to bore you unless she has some fire in some other places of her chart. If you're a water sign, an air sign is going to be a little too distant in their approach. They're not as connected deeply emotionally. So every day I send you, almost every day, a little love note that I carefully choose my words to love on you, encourage you, make you feel like you can walk on water, because we don't have enough encouragement like that in our lives. Most of us don't. I don't. Other people don't. So, and throughout this book, I give homework sections. For instance, in the first chapter where it's just about you and becoming a sexy bastard, I give homework sections about what you should do around your house, what you should do in your personal environment. In the sex chapter, the very last chapter where I go into, honey, it's embarrassing. It's so vivid. It's so detailed. I go into what you should have in your sex drawer. So, there's a lot to learn. Let's come back to that quote by Einstein, right? Or by Freud. By Freud. It's a good thing to become self-aware. It's extremely important that we understand our limitations, who we are, and how much we have to learn. And most men, being entirely honest with oneself is good exercise. Most men think they're doing fine. They really do. And you know what? The problem is women don't educate you. This is why I wrote the book. Most women don't educate you. They're doing themselves a disservice, 87% of them, by making these sounds and noises just to make you feel good about yourself. And you're practically doing everything wrong. 87% of women behave that way. So you think, I'm a sex god, I don't need this talk, I'm doing just fine, when in actuality, percentages and the odds are against you. And your intentions are good. It's just, we're a different species, dude. We are so different from you. So the way that we want to have sex is different. If you think about gay men having sex, most gay men couples have open relationships. They're out there having quickies and sex more often. They're having more sex than anybody. They understand each other. Women, we're different. This is why lesbian sex is so good. Women are understanding of what we want. Men and women come from two very different places. And in a way, it's not as natural of sex. There's a lot to overcome.
This makes me think here then, so what does a woman really want inside So now I think we can come back to this where you wanted to back up and kind of do some of the,
you wanted to get in.
I wanted to get in
the second minute.
Well, that's what the audience is thinking, and I'm trying to get, guys are driving to work, they got limited time. So now, what is it that women really want inside the bedroom? We've gotten to this point. The volume knob is high. The anticipation is great. He's done a good job here. He's ready to go. She's ready to go. What's the act look like?
Okay, so everything is foreplay, as we know.
Yes.
Everything is seduction. Your anticipation has to be there. And then in the sex department, most men don't know where to find our clit. They don't know. There's a lot of things that they just don't know. So I get into details in that. And, some people think that this book is really scandalous because it has pictures of my daughter, which none of them are naked, but they're really, really, really beautiful. And then here's the Mama Miki voice, speaking some real talk into your life. So I do go into details about that. I would say that the biggest, most important thing is that you make us feel like we're with a different lover all the goddamn time. I don't want to feel like sex is, you're going to feel my breasts and then you're going to, rub on me for a minute and kiss me and then we're going to have sex. And it's always that way. And it's always in the same place. And it's always in the same room. And it's always with the same sounds. And it's always with the same lights. And it's always with the same music. And it's always the same. Bores us. This is why women watch and listen to and read these romance novels. I hate this stuff. I just think it's a waste of time. I don't see how it's really benefiting anybody. It's just kind of putting you in a fantasy land. Instead of living that fantasy land, same with porn, go make your fantasy happen for yourself. Bring that reality to fruition. So when it comes to sex, we do want you withholding your energy and giving your energy. Withholding your energy, giving your energy. We want it different. Sometimes we want it rough. Sometimes we want to be surprised. Sometimes we want to be tied up. Sometimes we want it to be loving. Sometimes we want it over the kitchen counter. And when you are keeping her on the hook, when you have her on the hook because she desires you, because she worships you, because she honestly sees you as a sex god, because her cells are jumping all over the place, you are going to have the most incredible sex of your life. So we had to back way up because the sex act is the part where she is going to come alive. If all of these things that you've learned from this podcast are applied, your sex is going to be something that you never dreamed possible. I'm a multi-orgasmic person. It's not hard for me. I'm not a faker, but most women are. And so really taking a look at that and stepping back and saying, okay, I'm going to withhold my energy better. I'm going to make every ounce of our sex life unique. I'm going to not be a slob and turn her off all the time because I'm, just being sloppy. I'm going to consciously learn how to be more sexy, how to give her what she wants. When you get in the bedroom, and I give so many ideas of what to do, how to do, when to turn her over, what to say in her ear, where to bite her, how to make her feel when you're looking at her, when to hold her down, when to pull her hair. I get into it really, really strongly. You will have the kind of sex you want if you do all of the things leading up to it that she wants you to do. It'll be off the hook.
So it sounds like to me the sex begins hours or even days before.
It begins all the goddamn time. It's always at play.
It's always at play.
Always at play. If you can keep it always at play, oh, honey, that woman is going to worship you.
And so when the act does happen, that's when it all unfolds there. But without all of that, the anticipation before, then it's boring.
Subpar. You've been boring us.
What's the importance of a man's words and voice and noise in the act?
It depends on the woman. Again, a fire sign woman is going to be more athletic. She's going to be more ravenous. She's going to be more physical. She's going to want to take some control. She's going to want to push you down. She's going to want to, be very involved in that push-pull. Water sign, except for Scorpio, they're always kinky. But a water sign's going to want more of the tender, more of the love, more of the slow touching. And this is where pornography does women on women sex absolutely zero favors, because the way lesbians have sex compared to porn stars having sex together is completely different. It's night and day. And if you can just think about, even meditate, make one of your meditation sessions about what would it feel like to make love to a woman, have sex with a woman as a woman. I know that sounds crazy. You probably never thought about it. But if you can sit there for a minute, sit there for 20 minutes meditating, what would it feel like to make love to a woman as a woman? You'll kind of start to understand a little more of what that looks like and what we're looking for.
I'm feeling like the woman would slow down. That's what comes to my mind.
You're so perceptive. You're so smart. You really are smart, by the way. I love your story.
You read the story? Which one? I have many stories.
Well, it's just sort of your story of overcoming and living with the brother, all the hardship, and the first blog you wrote. And yeah, I don't know you well enough.
Thank you. Is that sexy? Is that anticipation for something?
Yes.
Storytelling.
Yes. Well, and the self-work, right? The self-work is so important. If a man is sitting at a table with a woman and he's buying her dinner and he's talking about his ex in any kind of negative way, the only thing that speaks to her is that you are messed up, that you're not healed, that it's not a good start. You got to be careful about what you talk about. You got to be careful about your own mental well-being as you enter a relationship, because that's kind of your foundation, right? Wherever she is, wherever you are spiritually, that's where you're starting. So being healed before you enter into a relationship will make your relationship that much better.
So this kind of goes in with that whole celibacy you were talking about, where you're focusing inward and doing things that you need to be doing. You're getting you're unleashing your creative potential on the world. And there's a self-discovery process. I mean, how much more did you learn about yourself, Miki, when you were going through that period?
Oh, yeah. I learned more in 2 years than I had in my previous 47. Honestly, more in those 2 years. We're so obsessed with sex and having it now. And, if we could use all of the power of that sexual energy and channel it better into what we want for ourselves. I also wrote a book called Fashion a Fairy Tale, an inspired methodology for manifesting fantasies. And it's written to women, but the men that have read it have just sung my praises, because it's all about that growth. It's all about coming into your power. It's all about finding out who you are and becoming something more. So yeah, absolutely. Rushing into a relationship just for the sake of sex, you may look at it in 6 months and go, why the hell am I here? This woman is crazy. I don't even like her. She's not interesting. She's so possessive. You have to set the pace and decide what you want beforehand. Do you just want casual sex? Okay, then make sure that she's at your level, at your standard, and have more than just the one, because now she's probably going to dominate. If you're not ready for a relationship, flirt for a while with several, and use these techniques in the book. Don't get sloppy here. Practice being that sex god. Practice feeling empowered. Practice having women truly care about you and be interested in you. But you set the pace. It's really important that you don't, most people just sort of do what other people want them to do. And that's unfortunate, because then you become either jaded or you're just you're not happy with it because you didn't fully make the decision. That's why I'm not a big believer in sleepovers until you want to be committed. Make her leave. Just let her know up front. I used to do sleepovers all the time. Then I felt like I had to make breakfast, and then they would want to hang out with me. And I know that I'm fun and great and clever and interesting, but I don't want you dominating all of my time. That's what makes me interesting, is because I spend time on my own projects. So, you have to decide what you want.
Yeah. And when you're talking here, something that's popping up in my mind is the nice guy. And I'm wondering, you're familiar with this quote unquote nice guy type of, trend, right? Or what this type of man does and how he acts. And I'm wondering how women are perceiving this man, especially in a sexual way.
This is where he needs to become better at all of these techniques of flirting, become better at the seducing, learn how to control his energy, because being nice is fantastic, but you want to be considered sexy and desirable, just like a woman does. So you have to work on that, and anybody can do it. Anybody. I don't care. I can take the nerdiest of men. In fact, you and I should do a seminar one time. And this is something that I'd like to do in the future, because really any man can develop any of these skills. And role playing is always helpful, because it's that first stepping out kind of thing. I guess I would say, don't consider yourself a nice guy. Consider yourself a nice guy, but consider yourself a fascinating guy. Consider yourself worthy. Consider yourself valuable. Consider yourself powerful. And when you start looking at yourself in all of your dimensions, then you become more fierce. Then you can draw a woman in. I'm a big believer in Fashion a Fairy Tale. I talk about mirror work, because a lot of women don't love themselves very much, and they say negative things about themselves and tear themselves down. Nobody should be doing that. A man shouldn't be doing that. A woman shouldn't be doing that. Nobody should be doing that. Your words are really important. So if you just sort of feel like, I'm just a nice guy and women pigeonhole me, then you're talking to yourself negatively. So go look in that mirror every morning and tell yourself what you need to hear. Every day I tell myself something different. For a long time, when I was just trying to find my footing, every morning I would look in the mirror and tell myself, I am a badass motherfucker. I would look in the mirror and say, you are a badass motherfucker. And it was exactly what I needed to hear, because I knew I was, but I had those moments of just feeling, golly, life is hard. I'm feeling kind of weak here, and everything is not exactly falling into place as quickly as I'd like it to. And so that was my little mantra. Men should do the same kind of work. Whatever you need to hear, if you're not feeling powerful, look in the mirror and tell yourself, you are powerful. Look at what you've overcome. You have so much to offer. You're unbelievable. Look how sexy you are with your cute little dimple. Talk to yourself. It's helpful.
I like that. Yeah, the self-empowerment talk. I think the way we talk to ourselves has so much to do with our self-esteem. I believe Psycho-Cybernetics is a great book on that by Maxwell Maltz. And so now, Miki, I want to dive into the knowledge round. I'm just going to ask you a few more questions here just to get more nuggets of wisdom for the audience. So, Miki, ready for the knowledge round?
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
After 200 plus interviews, I've identified the most common trait of success as confidence. Whether you're trying to achieve financial freedom or improving your relationships, confidence is what separates those who get what they want in life and those who don't get what they want in life. So before a man sets out on his journey, it's important that he has the confidence in himself to accomplish his goals and his dreams. You have to have this area of your life taken care of in order to create the life that you want. That's why I've created a free program to double your confidence in less than 30 minutes with this weird but simple set of exercises. Go to kfmconfidence.com. Again, that's kfmconfidence.com to transform your life. Welcome to the Knowledge Round, where the guests will be asked rapid-fire questions to give the audience invaluable pieces of wisdom to help transform their lives. Starting in 3, 2, 1, showtime.
Question for you here is, what advice would you give to a man here who is feeling really lost or unsure of what they should be doing in their life, like unsure of their purpose?
I would say to you, you are perfect. The only one that needs to know that is you. And once you fully come to see how fantastic you are and how unique you are and how interesting you are, everything is going to fall into place for you. Don't be discouraged. I know life can be discouraging, and the collective energy is not so good right now. You know, we have a lot of people that are depressed, a lot of people that are anxious. There's so much anger out there. Everybody's arguing about everything. So the collective energy, we can't help but have that infuse into our person a little bit. So we have to separate ourselves. Anything that is causing you to feel discouraged, it's causing you to feel bummed out, you got to move away from that energy. So move away from social media if it's bumming you out. Move away from TV if you feel depressed when you're watching it. Eliminate those friends that aren't doing anything for themselves. So start making some moves.
Yeah, I like that. What do you think is really holding men back from becoming their best self, their strongest self?
Themselves. No question. We have to encourage ourselves better than anyone else encourages us. You know, I consider myself, I'm a spiritual coach, you're right, but I consider myself a professional encourager because people don't get enough of it. They don't get enough of it. So you have to encourage yourself. You have to. You have to be your own cheerleader.
I like that. And so your book here is Sex God Method for men, which I think the guys should know about by now. What would you say are 2 or 3 of your most influential books that have helped you on your journey?
Okay. The Fountainhead by Ayn Rand, because she taught me that individualism is critical. And if you sacrifice your own brilliance, you sacrifice everything. It's better to stand alone with your principles than it is to have other people respect and love you. Because they will end up respecting and loving you if you stick with what you know is right for you. I would say, you know, one book that got me when I was young, a money book, was Rich Dad, Poor Dad, because it made me realize how simple handling money really is and how important it is. So that influenced me pretty greatly.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. A wide range of different books there. And so this one's for you, kind of like a self-reflection back on your own life. So this is a scenario for you, Miki. Imagine you have 60 seconds with 25-year-old Miki. If right now you could envision where she is right now.
She was so cool.
Oh, yeah. What would you tell her to do? If you could sit down and be like, Miki, like younger you, what would you tell her to do? What would you tell her maybe not to do?
I'm a believer in having no regrets. Don't regret a damn thing because it made you who you are, and don't live in any kind of shame. So I'm a big believer in that. I have a video on YouTube titled How I Became a Badass, Overcome Fear. And if you have shame, you're going to have fear. You have to just own everything that you are, own every decision that you have ever made. So my 25-year-old self was pretty cool. She was a skier, a mountain biker. She was a businesswoman. She wasn't a mother yet, and she didn't know how powerful she was. That was the only thing. She had a great personality and big hopes and dreams and kind and loving and funny and wise, but she didn't know how powerful she was. And if we can train our children and teach everybody that we know their own power, think about how transformative this world would be.
Yeah. They often say the richest lands in the world are, not, the gold mines or the oil fields, but in the graveyard, because everyone has incredible power and creativity and the potential for something great, but it wasn't let out and it went with them. And that touches me there.
That makes me so sad. Bring your brilliance to the table. Bring your brilliance. If you have something, a piece of wisdom, if you have, and everybody does because we all have unique life experiences, bring it to the collective. Package it. Bring it. Make us better by what you have to bring.
Yeah, I like that. And Miki here, what would you say, if we were to keep it simple here, what would you say is your philosophy on life and success?
My philosophy on life is live and let live. Don't judge other people, because when you judge other people, you're judging yourself and you're lowering your vibration. And anything that lowers your vibration hinders your success.
Yeah, just letting that sink in, and wise words here from Miki here on the show. And this entire episode. Yeah, this has been really good. And so now, what's exciting you today? Summer has begun over here. And what's exciting you? What are you looking forward to in this year?
Well, yesterday I had a book reading for Fashion a Fairy Tale, which I was really excited about. Mm-hmm. And I'm meeting with a book publisher on Saturday for my book, Fashion a Fairy Tale. And my daughter and I are talking with TV shows about doing a reality show. So you can see I like to go there about everything. I want to talk about everything because that's what's interesting. We edit ourselves too much. So there will be no editing of the Spies Girls and Bitch House Productions. We have our own reality show now up on our website. There's a few free shows, and then you can pay for other shows. They're only like $3 a show. And it's just us living in our home and what we do and what we talk about and who we are. And it's just us having a good time. Authenticity is everything, isn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Be unapologetically you, and the right people who love you will appear. They will show up.
Yes. Don't hide. Don't hide. Come on out.
Come on out.
Come on out.
Come on out right now.
We'll have more fun with you. Yes.
Let's do it. All right. For all the listeners here, you can follow up with Miki Spies at spiesgirls.com. You could also just Google her name, Miki Spies, and get access to her website and her books and her reality show. All of that stuff is there. Miki, it's been an honor talking with you. It's been a long time making, actually, to get you on here, and you're here. We had a fantastic episode. We impacted thousands. Thank you so much for your time.
I hope so. Thank you too so much.
Thank you for listening to the Knowledge for Men podcast. Hundreds of interviews and millions of downloads later, we're continuing to build an international movement, and we're just getting started. So if you enjoyed this episode, go ahead and leave a helpful review in iTunes, because it really helps the podcast grow so we can impact even more men in the world who need this. Guys, this is all about living with purpose, where every day you only do things that matter to you. You wake up, live with purpose, and take massive action towards the life you want. And always remember, love the life you have while creating the life of your dreams. Go to kfmfree.com to get a surprise bonus I've made for my listeners. Again, that's kfmfree.com for something that's changed my life, and I'm offering it to you for free. Also, check out my Amazon best-selling books that I've written for you to help you crush life at kfmfree.com. kfmauthor.com. Again, that's kfmauthor.com to see all the books I've created to help you break through in life. This is your host, Andrew Farabee, founder of knowledgeformen.com, and I'll see you in the next episode.